It's Saturday morning, live from across the Bostik Leagues. This is Back of the Net, where your weekend football begins.
So very good morning to you and welcome to an action-packed day of football. It's FA Cup weekend again. It's the third round qualifying today and we're here in Margate this afternoon for a local derby between Margate and Herne Bay. Delighted to say that Margate manager Steve Watt and captain James Rogers join us on the show this morning. We'll also be hearing from John Embry, the Herne Bay manager, very shortly as well. Quite a few interviews on the show. Ian Chapman, Burgess Hill Town, Mark White, Dorking Wanderers and Neil Baker from Slough Town all join us to discuss their teams in Cup action this afternoon. And we've got a couple of really important draws on the show. The Velocity Trophy second round draw and the Women's Cup draw as well. All coming up between now and 1 o'clock. It really is an action-packed show. Get your thoughts into us, official BOTN across social media.
Your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So good morning and welcome. I missed one interview there and I was waiting for you to say it, Mick, just because you can pronounce the surname probably better than I can. The Leatherhead goalkeeper, I'm going to call him Zaki. Do you know how to pronounce the surname?
I don't, so I only call him Zaki, but I'm going to say Zaki Ula, and I might have a song for him for the Leatherheads supporters for him today to sing.
Okay, oh lovely. Well, Zaki's coming on the phone a little bit later on to talk about their cup tie at Ashford today. First of all, let's say a very good morning to Steve Watt, the Margate manager, and James Rogers, their captain. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Lovely to be here for a football match, but especially for FA Cup weekend. It's just something a little bit special, even at this stage of the Cup, third round qualifying. It's nice to be involved in it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, you're potentially 180 minutes away from that first round proper, which all clubs at our level dream about. Certainly the fans in the club at Margate have about 15 years, I believe, since the last time they reached that stage of the competition. So hopefully we can take one step in the right direction today and get into that last stage, if you like, to a last 90-minute game to hopefully get to that first round proper.
And James, as a player, that buzz of playing in the FA Cup, everyone talks about it. It must be special.
Yeah, it's massive. Every year, players are desperate to get to that first round, and every FA Cup game's special. So yeah, we're just looking forward to the game. And
it seems like you're obviously quite into it now. You've had a couple of rounds already. There's such a journey for non-league clubs to get to that first round proper, and quite a few managers have said to us in the last couple of rounds, the first round proper is almost like it's the cup final. It's your trip to Wembley, if you like, if you can get there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was, as a young player, my introduction to the FA Cup was my debut for Chelsea in the third round against Scunthorpe, a home tie. Not very proud to say that at that stage in my career, you didn't realise what clubs at this level had to go through to get to the first round proper. So it's a massive achievement for any non-league club to reach that first round proper. And as you said, it is a cup tie. Well, so the next round, the fourth qualifying round, is like a cup final in itself to reach it.
And we're always privileged to have you on the show, but especially this year because last season Merstham were the Bostik team the Ryman team then, that reached the first round proper and had that experience. So first hand for you, you know what it means to the players, managers, supporters and the club as well.
Yes, of course, last season was fantastic for us at Merstham. But obviously, going back to what Steve said there, that fourth qualifying round is the big game, and we happened to pick out Ebbsfleet, who were sort of like the non-league giants at the time, and that was our day really. Hayden and myself felt that was the day that we really sort of like played really well, and the achievements are for that game, not so much what the Oxford game. The Oxford game was just there for the PR value and a day out for the boys, but the previous game was something special that lives in our minds, and that's what got us there. That's what's the financial reward that come our way, and obviously the PR and the club was absolutely brilliant.
And how's the season been, Steve, so far? I spoke to you a few weeks ago and we're talking about promotion, playoffs, going straight back up as being a target. Are you pleased with how things have gone so far?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think we've had a solid start. You know, we've been unfortunate in a couple of games. We've conceded really late goals, which those points would have meant us being high on the table at this stage. But look, in terms of what the club's gone through last year, we spoke about building the club slowly again in the right way, and I think that's what we're doing. We're going about our business quietly, picking up good performances, good results. And I think we're going from strength to strength. I think we've got to be pleased. I mean, I think from the last regime, I've only kept one player, so we've put a whole new 19 players together, and I've never headed the fact that it will take time. So look, I'm happy the way we're going about our business. And I said the results, we had a great result Wednesday night against probably our toughest opponents to date. I believe it was a good, hard-earned 3 points. And as I said, we've got to be happy with the start we've made.
I'm going to talk more about the game today. Of course, it is a local derby, not just an FA Cup game. But before we do that, let's hear from John Embry, the Herne Bay manager. I caught up with him yesterday. So here we are again, FA Cup, third qualifying round this time, and you take on Margate, who are 24 league positions higher than you, 10th in the Premier Division. Another challenge. How are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, really excited. We're not really underdogs, but you know, they've got a nice surface, and which will help us, and hopefully we'll try and get the ball down and surprise people with how we try and play.
Yeah, you certainly did that in the Horsham game. You know, you defeated them 5-2, some really great flowing football, and you had DeCali, who was the man of the match on the day, scored a fantastic goal. There were a couple of really good goals in the game as well. Is it you obviously want to take that form into your next FA Cup game and play the same way and express yourself rather than worry about Margate?
Of course, that's exactly how we're going to approach it. You know, we've got no fear. As I said, at the end of the day, we've just got to go and play our own game. You know, if we worry about them, we'll play right into their hands. We just got to do what we're good at. If we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance. But we must work hard and we must, give 110%.
You're the form side in the division at the moment. 5 wins from your last 6, 15 points, 9th in the table. You must be delighted.
To be fair, we're going well. So we've got games around. Now, if we win our next game, now we can go second. So we're right in the mix. But, as I said, you just got to make sure you keep winning and keep doing the right things. So we're pleased with our league form. It could have been better. I think Saturday's one was a bit for us. We didn't start that well, but we put that right yesterday, which was important going into the FA Cup game because we had an eye on the FA Cup game for Saturday and made a couple of changes as well, and because of Saturday's game. And lucky enough, it paid off for us.
And you take on Margate, who are obviously it's a big local derby. Obviously, the going into the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup is a big enough prize. But to be a local derby as well, was it a draw that you relished when it came out?
Of course, yeah, 'cause it always has a bit of spice to it, doesn't it? I expect it to be a decent crowd, and I think it'll be a good atmosphere, and hopefully that will help the boys. I said, for us, it's one of those ones. We've got nothing to lose. All we can do is go out there and do our best. And as long as we show well, we'll do all right, And
do you know more about them because they're perhaps local team to you than you would have done another team?
Yeah, we know a bit about them. But yeah, we know like a lot of their players have been around for a long time, and I've seen Steve Watt's team over the years. How he gets them to play. He's got a very efficient side. Strong. Physical. Let's get the ball forward quickly. So we know what they're about. But of course, we still want to go and watch them and see if we can just make a couple more ideas before Saturday's game.
And everyone talks about the FA Cup as obviously for teams to financial gain and for perhaps for the future. But can it have a bearing on this season? You mentioned your league form. You're doing really well at the moment. Got one of the best forms in the league. If you were to do well and get through another round, can that money be available to do something extra this season?
We'd like to think so. But it's like all non-league levels, money's tight. Unless you've got some clubs have just got backers behind them with large pockets. Unless you've got that, you've got to be realistic as to what you can spend and what's sustainable. So hopefully some funds will come back towards the players and strengthening. But also you've got to understand that you've got to balance the books, and if it's the right thing for the club to even keep all the money, then that's what has to be done.
For all the best coverage from across the Bostik Leagues, visit backofthenetsouth.co.uk.
Yeah, fascinating interview with John Embry, the Herne Bay manager. They're on good form at the moment. How much do you know about them coming into this game?
Yeah, I know a lot. We had a watch Tuesday night. I've had a look back over the their form in the last 12 games. They've only lost 3. You know, they've won 9. So it's a side no matter what team we've played this season so far, we've taken none of them lightly, and we certainly won't today. I mean, there's added pressure about being a local derby. Everyone knows what's at stake, and no, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm expecting a tough game this afternoon. But like I've said to my players in every game we've played this season, if we turn up, if we do our jobs right, if we play to our full capabilities, I don't feel any competition we come up against.
James, fans, we look at games perhaps like in the Premier League of Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool, Everton and all the local derbies. When you make our way into non-league level and it's a local derby, is it an extra bit of spice on the pitch? You think, well, we want to get one over neighbours?
Yeah, of course it does. I've been involved in quite a few local derbies, and yeah, they're always good to play in. You seem to get bigger crowds. There's a bit more spice on the pitch, which comes from the crowds. Yeah, they're massive games. So, but obviously, you've got to keep your head and you've got to get a job done. So.
And as a player, do you know more about the team, perhaps because they're local, that players that you think, oh yeah, and I knew him from here, or?
To be honest, I don't know a lot of the Herne Bay team. I know they're all young lads. Obviously trying to make a name for themselves in non-league and to progress. But yes, so but a lot of teams you do come up against, you've played against them throughout the years, and you do tend to know a lot of players. So.
And Mick, we watched Herne Bay. We were fortunate enough to be there in the last round where they beat Horsham, and it was an under-strength Horsham side, but it was a very impressive Herne Bay performance.
Very impressive Herne Bay performance, but I've seen both sides now. Obviously, I watched Margate against Leatherhead on Wednesday night, and as I said to Steve pre-show, very solid and compact side. I just got a feeling that, you know, it'll be a men against boys out in the day. Now, whether that will raise the game for the Herne Bay boys that are listening to this, maybe, but I do believe it's Margate's to lose today.
And we saw some impressive performances. DeCali, we gave man of the match to. He scored a really good goal and played a part in a couple of the others. He will be a threat today. Yeah,
again, I was speaking to Steve off air. Obviously, he's fully aware of that guy, and I hope he has a great game because he's a lovely personality, and he's come from a good background with Junior up at Dulwich there. He's had an injury for a season. He's come back into it, and if he has a really good game today, who knows? Steve might want to take him here.
We talked a little bit there to John about the financial side of things in the FA Cup. Is that something that, for you as a club, you're always told perhaps by the chairman, you know, this is really important? And is that a driving force?
I think it is for any club at non-league level. I think it is. I mean, it's great fun and it's great rewards. The further you go in a competition, and you do notice over the past years when clubs do go out early, you see budgets being cut, you see players leaving that I don't think would if they go further in competition. So clubs do rely on cup runs. But look, obviously we've just been taken over the course of the season. So luckily enough, the club's in a good position now and moving in the right direction. And look, today's like anyone that we're wanting to go through this competition. No matter what competition we play, we obviously played Herne Bay a few weeks ago in the Kent Senior Cup, and stressed the players even then we wanted to win that competition. So no matter what game we play, if there is financial benefit or not, I want to win every game of football that I put my team out to play.
And we were talking, James, about the FA Cup and that extra incentive, but as a player, when you go out on a pitch, doesn't matter whether it's FA Cup, League Cup, County Cup, you just want to win the games. Yeah,
of course you do as a player. You never want to lose games. You know, bonuses are nice if they come, but yeah, no. First and foremost, you want to win games of football. That's what we all play football for, and you know, there's nothing more enjoyable than winning the game of football.
It's interesting you mentioned bonuses there, because I've been asking the managers as we go along week in, week out, what's the budget, would you say, there's going to be a competitive budget to actually win this league or be around the playoff area, like figure per week? And I've asked this, and to be fair, the managers haven't ducked it at all, which is fantastic.
No pressure.
No, to win this, obviously, look, this is a unique season, if you like, with what Billericay have done. and obviously you've got to set them aside for
Yeah,
everyone
set them
else.
aside, yeah.
Me personally, I think to have a good chance at winning this league, I would say between 4 and 5, 6, run about that. I would
Per week.
Per
yeah?
week, I would say that to give you a chance to win it. But you can do it in less than that as well. And like Bognor is a prime example last year of running really. I think if you want to give yourself the proper chance of where you should be, minimum playoffs, that type of budget, I believe. But you could do less than that. Depends on the catchment area and connections you have, because teams have been successful on less than that. But that's what I would go about, around about that figures.
And Steve, you brought up a good point there. We mentioned Billericay every week when we do the show, because it comes up, and it is a unique season, and it's why they getting so much attention. But does that make it? I know it's good for the league, and they're doing a great job, and they're raising the profile. But it almost for clubs like yourself make it just that little bit harder, because you think, well, actually, with the budget that they've got, they really should win this league. So that's one place less, almost.
I've been a fan, even as a player, and I'll be no different as a manager. For me, budgets doesn't win you leagues. Budgets gives you a very good chance, pitching a great opportunity, but players and coaching and management wins you leagues. Like I said last year, having a very good budget, Bognor running right to the last game of the season on probably a lot less than what Havant had. So yes, the budget helps. Of course it does, get you actually better players. But look, first and foremost, I think what Glenn has done for Billericay has been fantastic. He's transformed the club. Going there as a player, I don't think if you asked the player previously, no one liked going there. I mean, you had to get warm up on the back when it was all mud. You couldn't even stand up in a warm up area. You weren't allowed to warm up the pitch. And Glenn's come in there and he's transformed the club first and foremost. So I think it's great what he's done for the club. As for the league, obviously it makes things difficult. I mean, you're playing against players that last season are playing many leagues above where we are. So it makes it, but it's a good challenge. It's a challenge as a management team, as a manager, as players. I see it as a great challenge to go and try. Why can't we compete with a Billericay? As I said, I think there's just as good teams in this league. As I said, Leather the other night. I thought they're a very, very good outfit. It's probably the strongest game we've had, toughest game we've had, and as I said, I don't think they'll be too far away either.
Yeah, we watched Leatherhead against Billericay, and although they lost that game, they were by far the better side. James, when you come up against the likes of Billericay, teams that have that money and that profile, I guess as a player, it's a huge challenge, and it's one that motivates you massively.
Yeah, of course it does. When you come up against players on a lot of money, obviously you do need to raise your game, and for some reason you do tend to raise your game against them teams. But this season, when we play them, it'd just be another game. There's 46 games or whatever there is in this league, so it would just be another game. But obviously, yeah, it does make you raise your game.
We've got plenty more questions for you. I know Mick has got his I always forget what we're calling it, top six.
Quick six.
Quick six. There we go. Mick's got his quick six coming up, but we're going to do the non-league football quiz now, and you guys have got your pen and paper ready. Going to give you 5 questions. Today is a slightly varied non-league football quiz because it is about the FA Cup. So it's not just non-league, it's an FA Cup weekend. And we've got Luke and Remy, our producers, that are going to join in with this as well. You can play along wherever you are. Official BOTN on social media. Let us know scores. Somebody did that last week as well, Luke. We actually had somebody else played with us that was at home.
Yes, we did. They didn't do the best, but they still played.
So let's get on with the FA Cup quiz, we'll call it today.
The non-league football quiz.
Feeling confident? Who won last week? I can't remember.
Was it Mick?
Might be.
I think Mick won.
I do win sometimes,
Oh no, sorry,
Was it the guest?
Mick. It was
No,
the
Mick,
guest.
it wasn't.
Sorry. Oh.
I don't think there's any chance with this guess winning.
Question 1.
Okay, question 1 is Lincoln City were the highest finishing non-league team in last season's FA Cup, eventually losing to Arsenal in the quarter-finals. But how many of Arsenal's 5 goals did they score in the first half of the game? Arsenal scored 5 against Lincoln City in the quarter-finals, but how many of their 5 goals did Arsenal score in the first half of the game? Official BOTN across social media. Let us know how you're getting on with this. Everybody got an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 2.
Since the Premier League was formed in 1993, just 2 teams outside of the top flight of English football have reached an FA Cup final. Can you name them both? Since the Premier League was formed in 1993, just 2 teams outside of the top flight of English football have reached the FA Cup final. Can you name them both? We'll give you a point for each. I thought this quiz today was going to be slightly easier than usual. 2 teams outside of the top flight have reached an FA Cup final since 1993. Who are those 2 teams?
Question 3.
Which player has won the FA Cup more than any other? Is it A, Ashley Cole, B, Frank Lampard, or C, Ryan Giggs? Which player has won the FA Cup more than any other? A, Ashley Cole, B, Frank Lampard, or C, Ryan Giggs?
That's a really good one. More because of the options. All 3 are in there.
They've all won it a few times.
Yeah.
Stop looking at my answers.
I'll give you a clue. It's definitely one of the 3.
Fantastic.
Official BOTN, let us know how you're getting along with the quiz.
Question 4.
Who were the last team to play in an FA Cup final and get relegated in the same year? Who were the last team to play in an FA Cup final and get relegated in the same year? Is it A, Portsmouth, B, Hull City, or C, Wigan Athletic? Who were the last team to play in an FA Cup final and get relegated in the same year? Portsmouth, Hull City, or Wigan are your options.
You've gone for that, have you? That's
Was
wrong.
it won
That's
or
wrong.
just played in?
The most recent.
The most recent
But to have won or played in the final?
to have played in the final and got relegated in the same year.
Yeah.
Question 5.
Curzon Ashton's Adam Morgan was joint top scorer of last year's FA Cup, but which Premier League player also scored 6 goals in last year's competition? Curzon Ashton's Adam Morgan was joint top scorer of last year's FA Cup, but which Premier League player also scored 6 goals in the competition? I'll give you a point for the player.
We've got
or
no
a
choices.
Or a point for the club. No,
Nothing at all.
no choices.
I've gone with the obvious choice. I can go. Probably wrong.
God.
Because you'd think, Mick, that the Premier League players come in at the 3rd round, so for them to be top scorer, usually they're going to be in the latter stages.
I appreciate that, but I don't watch a lot of Premiership football. So
Mick's at
I'm a non-league fan.
very-
That's what this show's about, non-league.
It's FA Cup today, though,
No
Mick,
matter,
so there
there's
we go.
plenty of non-league sides in there.
Mick's not happy with the questions. Right, let us know. Official BOTM wherever you are, and we'll come back and give you the answers after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page 1 journey today with a free online health check by visiting promoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the show this morning. We're live from Margate ahead of their FA Cup third round qualifying tie with local rivals Herne Bay. We've just done the FA Cup quiz today. Still some deliberation here. Official BOTN if you want to let us know how you get on. How did you find the quiz?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, not too bad.
It's good questions.
Let's find out.
Question 1.
So the first question was Lincoln City were the highest finishing non-league team in last season's FA Cup. They eventually lost to Arsenal in the quarter-finals, but how many of Arsenal's 5 goals did they score in the first half? Let's start with Remy.
Just the one.
Luke?
1.
1.
And Mick, what did you get?
4.
The answer was 1, so point for everybody but Mick in that round.
Question 2.
Since the Premier League was formed in 1993, just 2 teams outside of the top flight of English football have reached the FA Cup final. Can you name them both? Remy, how did you get on with this one?
I did dreadful. I put Luton only because we were talking about FA Cup and Luton and something about Liverpool, so I was like, must be them.
Hull were the only team I could think of, just in terms of being included in an FA Cup ever. That was quite low down. I know they were in the Premier League, but
so you know they were in the Premier League, and the question was just the 2 teams outside of the top flight.
I think an answer's better than no answer.
It's good. Yeah, fair enough.
Thank you.
Let's move on.
I put Millwall. They played Man United in the final, didn't they?
Yeah.
Years ago. And I'm being honest, this is a complete stab in the dark with Cardiff.
Okay. What did you put, James?
I've put Millwall and Wimbledon.
And Mick?
Millwall and Middlesbrough.
And the answer was Millwall and Cardiff. So very well done to you, Steve. Millwall reached the final in 2004. They lost 3-0 to Manchester United. Cardiff City lost 1-0 to Portsmouth in the final in 2008. The only 2 clubs outside of the top flight of English football to reach the FA Cup final since 1993.
Question 3.
Which player has won the FA Cup more than any other? Is it A, Ashley Cole, B, Frank Lampard, or C, Ryan Giggs? Remy, what did you put?
I put Ashley Cole just because he's played for 2 teams that I think have been in the final the most, so that's why I went for Ashley Cole.
Yep, I went Ashley Cole. Arsenal have won lots before he left, and then Chelsea won lots when he was there.
Ashley Cole.
I've gone Giggs.
I've gone Giggs.
The answer was Ashley Cole. He won it 3 times with Arsenal and 4 with Chelsea, so incredible record for Ashley Cole.
Question 4.
Who were the last team to play in an FA Cup final and get relegated in the same year? We gave you options of Portsmouth, Hull City or Wigan. What did you go for, Remy?
Wigan.
I went for Wigan.
Wigan.
Portsmouth.
Wigan.
And the answer was Wigan. Wigan were the last team to play an FA Cup final and get relegated.
What have you been?
Wigan are also the only team to have ever won the FA Cup and got relegated in the same season. They, of course, beat Manchester City 1-0 in the final in 2013.
Question 5.
Curzon Ashton's Adam Morgan was joint top scorer of last year's FA Cup, but which Premier League player also scored 6 goals in last year's competition? What did you go for, Remy?
I went for Alexis Sanchez just because Arsenal got to the final and he must have scored a few to get them there, so that was my guess.
I went for Harry Kane.
I went for Harry Kane.
Aguero.
And the answer is Son. He played for Tottenham.
Right team.
Oh, wow. Oh, because he got the goal against Chelsea in the semi-final, didn't he?
I did say that I would give you a point if you got the correct team. So
yes!
you guys
Yeah,
said
right.
Tottenham, so 2 points there for saying it was a Tottenham player. So, yeah, Son scored 6 goals.
Sorry, did you say that?
I did say that.
Definitely remember
Absolutely.
I remember it.
We'll go back and.
Oh,
yeah.
right, okay, all right.
I'm sure I did say that. So Luke and
Yeah,
Steve
thank you.
get a point
Yeah.
for that because they went for a Tottenham player. I must admit, it probably would have been better to have options of maybe Alexis Sanchez, Aguero and Son.
Yes.
I don't think anyone would have picked so.
The reason I didn't do that is because I thought people would have done, because they'd have thought, well, hang on, why is Son in there?
Yeah,
It's a bit
true.
random.
Yeah.
So we didn't go for any options. Right, Dara's going to let us know how everybody got on. So Dara, if you want to come over, just working out the final scores, official BOTN across social media. Mick, you'll be pleased to know that next week we'll be back with a non-league football quiz.
That's fine, as long as James is behind me today. I ain't last, hopefully.
He's definitely behind you, mate.
Okay,
You
Dara.
better play better today, by the way.
In reverse order, the candidates and the scores.
So, in last place, actually in joint last place, we have Mick and James with 1.5 points because I awarded half marks if you got one of the two teams that are in the FA Cup in the second question. In the penultimate position is our producer, our producer
Remy.
Yeah, that's her name. Yeah, our producer Remy. She got a mighty 3 points, and then we have Luke with 4 points, and our winner is Steve. So congratulations, Steve.
Well done, Steve.
Thank you.
Well done.
I think he got all of them right, didn't he?
Yeah, he got all 5, so 100%.
I don't know.
Hold up.
Hurricane.
Let's recount now.
Hurricane
This
was
is not
wrong.
happening.
Hurricane.
Yeah, they got 1 point less. So that's
Okay,
fine.
he got 4 wins, so that then means that
You could have got 6 points, but you got 5. Yeah, that's
5,
fine. Yeah,
okay.
brilliant. Okay, well, that's clean sweep though. All points for all questions, which is something that hasn't happened on the show so far this season. So well done, Steve. There we go. Right. Thank you very much, Dara. Next up, we're going to hear from Ian Chapman. Burgess Hill Town are in FA Cup action today, and here's what he had to say when I caught up with him yesterday.
It's a massive game for the club. We've got through 2 rounds. The draw's been kind to us the first 2. This one's obviously a lot difficult. But Wilson will be a real decent, outfit. But it's not a game we're going into thinking we can't win. It's a game we should, relish and try and progress the next round. It'll be really difficult. But everyone at the club's really looking forward to it. It's this is what we do the football. To big cup games and big games. Football.
Do you know much about Wealdstone?
We've got a report on them, so we've done our homework, that side of things. And we look at bits and pieces of that. We're trained tomorrow night and try and work on certain aspects of that. But they're a league above us, and they're obviously an established outfit. So we've just got to obviously worry a little bit about them, but try and get our A game, on show tomorrow. On Saturday, and try and progress. But we're under no illusions. It will be difficult, but it's a game we're really looking forward to. Be a big crowd there. They've got a real good support, as everyone knows. Hopefully there'll be quite a few there from our side, and it'll make for a good cup tie.
Have you changed anything this year? Is anything different at the club?
We've brought quite a few new players in. Obviously that takes a while to gel. We've been a little bit unlucky. We've lost like 4 midfield players. We lost a lad called Pierre Hazard who played last season. He's gone home to France because his mum wasn't well. Our captain, who's a centre half, was playing midfield and doing well. He's got a cruciate operation. We lost Guy Bolton, who's come from our youth system. This season's been our best player. He's gone to uni, and then Saturday we looked like we might have lost Jack Brivio for a while. So that's been difficult, but that's football. But we've brought new players into the club. I feel there's better quality at the club now. Obviously we just signed Gary Alfick, who's obviously a big plan for us, big experience, which we lacked a little bit. But things takes time. But I honestly do believe we're a better football team this year, and we have been since we've been in this league. But that's we've got to prove that on the football pitch. Sometimes things take time to do. We've got Tony Garrett in this year, who's a goal scorer. So there's loads to look forward to us. And the biggest thing also, which first time for a few years, we've got 23s back and 18s, and we've had the 18s, but I've looked over and there's some real good kids coming through our club. So it's important that we bring them through at the right stage and take our club forward. And you can only do that by being patient. You can't throw them in all the time, all together. But there'll be a player like Charlie Bennett's come into the squad. He's come out of the youth team last year. He's been involved in most games this year. And there'll be other players. They will get the opportunity. And I do believe for the first time for a while we've got, the capabilities of moving the club forward. But, we've got to do it. So what we're talking about, it's got to be done on the pitch.
Was that one of the things that you thought about when you brought Gary Elphick in, bringing him into the club, not just a player, as a fantastic player at this level, but also that personality, that experience for those younger players as well?
Yeah. We he played his first game Saturday. Obviously, we got beat to Tonbridge 1-0, but he was our best player. He leads by example. He's a young man still. He's 31. He's not an old player. People think because he's been around a few years and maybe he's older. He's 31, and just being in the changing room, sometimes the players need to hear another voice on the pitch. Rather than us from the side trying to do their jobs from, because we're quite inexperienced like that. We ain't got loads of lads who play this level. Gary has, and hopefully if you watch him and how he conducts himself on and off the pitch, he ain't the shot. He put his head in, he tackle, he talk. Hopefully a few follow suit and they get accustomed to this level of football quicker than what they would otherwise. So that's important for us, and Gary's going to play a major part in that. On the field, not ain't to be involved in the coaching side of it. On the field, I want him to lead our team, and that's why we made him club captain. And I think it's exciting times for our club.
FA Cup weekend. So I've got to finish by asking you favourite FA Cup memory. Maybe not just as a manager. Maybe back in the day when you used to watch the cup finals, the tradition at Wembley, and those kind of things. Any favourite memory for you?
I think I was fortunate to be a player myself. Like, you know what I mean. And I played at. We went to Anfield as a player for Brighton, and 2-0 down and drew 2-2. They beat us in the replay 3-2. That was obviously it's when Liverpool were the best at the time with John Barnes and players like that. So that's massive for me. I've also got a Del Mon where we lost to Kingstonians when I was a pro. So it's all swings and roundabouts football. The FA Cup's is a great competition, and it brings out the best in everyone. And I think it's a real level on the day.
Have your say. Get in touch on social media. Just search official BOTN.
Yeah, Burgess Hill Town today up against Wealdstone in the FA Cup. Tough tie for them. Mick, Wealdstone mid-table in the National South, so it's going to be a difficult task, but anything can happen in the Cup.
Well, as Chap has said, it's a leveller, isn't it? The FA Cup's a leveller, and it's definitely a leveller as further as you go up. So hopefully he does well. I love him. He's a good bloke. Wears his heart on his sleeve. He's made a good signing in Gary Elphick, and it's really interesting for him to hear and be excited about bringing some of these under-23s and under-21s and 18s through, which sort of get forgot about at sort of Bostik level clubs. They sort of don't come in. It probably happens maybe a tad lower, but it's nice to know that he's really gunning to try and bring some of these youngsters through.
A perfect question to move on for you then, Steve, about younger players coming through. What's your view on it in the Bostik leagues?
No, look, I'm very much that opinion of you're good enough, you're old enough. We've had Henry Akage, who's played 3-4 games for us now, 17 years of age. He came off the bench on Wednesday night against Leatherhead, only 17 years of age. So we're certainly not scared to give people opportunities. I've got a 16-year-old on the bench for today's game. So look, the impress in the 23s. The 23s wasn't established last season here. So it's something when I came to the club I was very passionate about and wanted to make sure we got under 23 squad, development squad put together straight away, which we have. And Jay Stubblefield is the manager for those boys, and he's put together a very good side. There's some great young talent, and as I said, a number of them played in the last round of the Velocity Trophy. About 3 or 4 played that evening. The Kent Senior Cup against Bay. I think I finished with 8 or 9 under 23 players in that. So look, if they're good enough, they're old enough, in my opinion. As I said, and we've started to bleed them already in our season, the league campaign. I mean, at home to Harbour Borough on Saturday, Henry came off the bench, 17 years of age, after 30 minutes, and played the rest of the game. Was outstanding. So look, if you're good enough, you're old enough at this age, and I think the more you can have them around your first team training, and then getting minutes from the corner is the better for the kids.
And we hear a lot of complaints when you move up to sort of Premier League level about the amount of fixtures, but actually when you come to this level, you've got the county cups, you've got the league cups, you've got FA Cup, FA Trophy, league games, and there's a lot of league games as well. You need that strength in depth, and perhaps you do need the younger squads and the younger players to step up for all those games.
Certainly, when you hear in the Premier League level that people getting overplayed. You sit and think, do they actually know what goes on at this level? I mean, you've got 46 or 45 if you like league games, then you've got how many of them cup games on top of that. Some players end up playing 60 games, 70 games a season, which is incredible. I mean, I signed Liam Friend from Folkestone at the start of the season, and I couldn't believe he'd played 540 games for Folkestone. He's 29 years of age. So me and my management team was trying to work out how many games per year he's played, and it was something incredible, really. So, look, as I said, when you've got a good youngsters, it's important you use them, and it's always good so that you can give old heads like Roger a rest now and again to keep the legs fresh for the big games to help you push up the table.
Ian mentioned about an FA Cup memory. He had a good one as well, playing at Liverpool. Have you got a memory, maybe not just as a player or manager, but just looking back on the FA Cups back in the day, that any final that sticks out for you?
Me? Well, but the first final I went to was, I was signed at Chelsea as a 16-year-old. And the first final I went to, I think it was the last final at the old Wembley. I think it was Chelsea Villa. Chelsea won it. So I was invited down for that day, which was a great memory for me as a 15-year-old. But I said, look, I've had great memories in the competition. I made my debut for Chelsea when Mourinho's first tenure at Chelsea. Started the game at Scunthorpe at home in the third round proper, and then obviously the success we had at Maidstone where we reached the second round. So I've had great memories either end of the spectrum, if you like, and it's something I'm desperate to recreate here at Margate. I know how desperate fans in the club are to reach that first round proper, and we'll do everything we can today to make that right step to give us the best opportunity.
And James, for you, anything that sticks out FA Cup wise?
Yeah, I've been lucky to have quite a few good runs over the last few years. We played MK Dons away for Dover. That's a great experience. We was unlucky not to get a result. Actually, we lost 1-0, I think. We missed quite a few chances there. When we was at Maidstone, we beat Stevenage. League Two over a replay.
We was running the Premier, we were at that level as well, weren't we?
Yeah, so yeah, obviously we was 2 or 3 leagues below. Yeah, I've been very lucky over the last couple of years, so yeah, I've had good runs.
Before I let Mick ask his 6 questions, we're going to turn our attention to some fixtures, and we're going to do a feature called Mick versus the Manager in a moment, where we get you to predict some games in the FA Cup. Before we look at FA Cup games, we're going to look at some key league fixtures today, and the first one we're going to talk about is in the Bostik Premier League. We've got one from each division, as we always do, and it's Merstham against Met Police today. And after achieving, as we mentioned, that great FA Cup run last season where they lost to Oxford in the first round proper, Merstham obviously unable to make it through any further than the first round qualifying this year, but it does allow them to play Met Police this afternoon. Their opponents struggling 21st position, taking just 2 wins out of 8 games and losing 5. Merstham, meanwhile, in 15th in the league with 10 points, just 5 away from 7th place. It's a really good opportunity for Merstham to climb up the table today, and actually the next 3 games are very winnable. Merstham will think for them at home. How do you fancy this one, Mick?
Well, obviously Hayden will be targeting 3 points, full stop, but obviously Jim's a canny lad as well, and I think that one could end up being a draw. I don't think Hayden will get his own way today. I think Met Police will be a bit more resilient than maybe they have been in the past, and bearing in mind they've already been tanned 3-0 by Merstham, so I think the boys will be rallied when they turn up at the Moat side today. So I fancy maybe 1-1 probably.
And Steve, these 2 teams are very, very hard to predict, when they sometimes turn up and have great wins, and it can be like that in the league, but these 2 teams in particular are very difficult to predict.
Yeah, you know, this is a Bostik Premier League. I think any team's predictable, unpredictable, and anyone on the day is capable of beating anyone at this division. You've seen it already this season. Budgets and teams aside, or form aside, any team can, and that's why it's such a tough league to get out of. But these 2 teams in particular, look, they're full of quality, full of experience, and managers and players. I think that will be a very good game. Like you said it there, I thought it'd be a tough, tight game. I'd be edging. I think Mersham will home advantage there. I'd expect them to win that.
Into the Bostik North, and today's game that we picked out is Grays Athletic against Brentwood Town. It's a bottom of the table clash in Bostik North. The visitors have picked up just 1 win this season, losing their last 5 league games. Grays, on the other hand, have managed to pick up 2 wins. Both sides have struggled for form so far, so it's going to be an interesting clash, that one, Mick.
Obviously, I don't know a lot about the Bostik North, but obviously I'm getting to learn a bit more as we visit these clubs. But at the minute, obviously Brentwood didn't have a great result midweek from memory, and so I fancy Grays being home advantage, probably 2-0.
And the other one to pick out, Horsham Cray Wanderers in Bostik South. Horsham suffered that heavy defeat, as we mentioned, Herne Bay in the FA Cup recently, which was followed by 5-1 loss to Sittingbourne. However, the confidence from the last game, the Velocity Trophy, as they defeated Burgess Hill Down in the week, so that win could benefit them. Horsham, your team you know very well, against Cray Wanderers today, Mick.
Well, all depends whether he's got some of his injuries back. Don was a bit devastated when he actually was played Herne Bay in the previous round. He had a lot of players missing. That's not taking anything away from Herne Bay's display. They were really, really good on the day. But he has got a lot of injuries, Dom, and I reckon if he's got a few of them back, then it could be... I mean, everyone's probably thinking Cray on a rich vein of form. Dom, I'll go 1-0 Horsham.
There's just the warm-up. So we've picked out 4 fixtures now from the FA Cup, which we're going to play Mick versus the manager. We've got a league table for this as well, and Remy's going to tell us how it's all going in that league table at the moment.
Oh, I need to get it up. Mick progressed last week, though. He's gone up to 3rd. I know that out of 9 managers. So,
Thank you.
But he climbed 5 places, I think. Yeah. So yeah, Frank's still at the bottom.
And some interesting fixtures today as well.
Yeah, so our first game is East Thurrock United versus Harlow Town. Bostik Premier side Harlow Town travel to Rookery Hill to play National League side East Thurrock United. Not in the best form, the Hawks have only put 7 points on the board after 8 league games and have also exited the League Cup. As for the hosts, they have only lost 1 of their last 6 league games and position 5th in the division. The Rocks defeated Briggleswade Town 1-0 to progress to qualifying round 3. So East Thurrock are the home side against Harlow Town.
East Thurrock all day for me. I don't know what's happened at Harlow Town. They seem to have gone... Well, they were a really tidy, strong side last year. I don't quite know what's happened to them, but yeah, East Thurrock for me.
But what's your score?
Oh, sorry. 2-0.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, look, FA Cup's special for reasons. The upsets like this can easily happen. You have Harlow who's struggling in the league, and East Thurrock who've been doing really well. I think East Thurrock will be too strong, particularly at home. I'll be going, especially with Sam Higgins up front as well. I'll be going probably 3-0.
3.
You can get James to also help you on this, Steve. Not that you need any help.
Not
on his quiz thing, maybe. Yeah,
I think he's done enough damage today as it is. I think.
Okay, our next game is Enfield Town against Phoenix Sports. So a tie which guarantees a Bostik league side a place in round 4. Premier team Enfield have had an adjusting start to the campaign with a new manager and new squad. They have only won 2 out of their last 8 games. Phoenix Sports position mid-table in the South Division and 1 more league win than their opponents today. Sports' Jack Barnum occupies 2nd spot amongst goal scorers, having scored 6 so far this campaign in the Bostik South.
Well, Enfield are fresh in my mind from last week. Andy Leese is a passionate guy, as we met last week, so I think he will really have them rallied. And I think with so many new players that he's had the blood over from the start of the season, they started to gel a little bit last week from what we saw. So I fancy Enfield and probably, obviously, FA Cup. And I think it's, Phoenix Sport got Frankie Sawyer up front, so maybe 2-1 Enfield.
I think it'll be a good game. We've got Enfield next Saturday, actually, at Enfield. I think it'll be a tight game. Phoenix are good. I've had great reports for Phoenix this season, and I think there's an upset there. If I'm being honest, I'm tying between a draw or a Phoenix win. I'm going to sit in the fence. I'll go 1-0.
Okay, fab. So our next game is Ashford Town and Leatherhead. So Ashford Town defeated Corinthian Casuals 2-0 and Marlow 2-0 in the previous rounds, gaining momentum and winning their league games too. Currently 3rd in the Evo Stick South East Division, they've collected 16 points out of a possible 21. Despite a title contending start to the campaign, the Tanners have now lost 3 games on the bounce to fall from 2nd to 13th in the league. However, Sammy Moore has recently signed a new contract and the management team at the club has since been restructured. So far in the FA Cup, they have enjoyed victories against Cray Valley, which was 6-0, and Ware, which was 5-2.
Well, Leatherhead have got a big FA Cup tradition, as you well know, because I was there in the 70s when they were doing so well. Obviously, I can't go against Leatherhead, so I fancy it will be tight because Ashford Town got a good young manager there. From a couple of seasons ago, we met him in Senior. So 2-1 Leatherhead.
Yeah, after what I saw Wednesday night, I don't think they'll have any problems. I think Sam will be back today as well. So we'll only add to Leatherhead's strength. I think it'll end up a comfortable victory, I think, then for Leatherhead. So 3-1 Leatherhead.
Okay. And our final game is our televised game, Hungerford Town versus Billericay. So Hungerford Town have most recently lost 5-0 to Braintree, conceding 3 before half-time. Despite this result, across their September fixtures, which was 6 games, they were undefeated in 4. In qualifying round 2, they defeated Gloucester City 3-0 in a replay, who positioned 2 league positions higher than them in the NLS. Billericay Town are undefeated since their opening day of the season, where former Billericay boss Craig Edwards' side secured all 3 points for Kingstonian. 7 goals for Jake Robinson puts him towards the top of the Bostik Premier goal scorers table, and the side have impressively netted 22 times in 8 games.
Billericay, I think Hungerford will raise their game most definitely because they're the home team, yeah?
Yes.
So 2-0. 2-0 Billericay.
Billericay. Okay.
Well, I know Billericay's got a few out today. I think they're missing Jake Robinson. They're missing.
I didn't know that. Hold on.
You've got to do your homework.
Okay.
I know they've got a few out today. Swaney's out. I think Jake Robinson's out, and a few others. So it's going to be tougher for them. But the squad he's got there, obviously they've missed players like that, and they'll be bringing in like for like. So a tight game. Being away from home, I'm going to go again with a draw. I'm going to go 2-2. 2-2.
Fab. That's it then.
Inside information there.
I've done my homework, mate. I've got to. Now I've stepped on across that line. I've got to do more homework than I used to do.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
And of course, you can join in official BOTN across social media and let us know how you think those games are going to turn out. And you can be put into the table as well. Right, Mick, we're going to come to you now because you've got 6 questions to ask Steve. And we did do this time, but we're not going to do it time today. So you can fire away with your 6 questions.
I'm also mindful I've got an interesting question that I would like to know, and some Leatherhead supporters would like to know. On top of these 6, is there any chance I can get that in afterwards?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we'll start with that one. We'll do that one now.
Okay, Steve, look, you were at Leatherhead last season, and all of a sudden you left along. I think Franny Collins followed you, and a couple of others did possibly. Yeah. Can you give us the reason why you did? Was it from a financial reward or going to a local club to where you live, or it just seemed a bit strange that you all headed off like out of the blue, and which decimated Leatherhead a little bit at that time?
Yeah, well, it wasn't last year. It was the season before.
Oh, sorry, the season before.
Yeah, look, it was. The club didn't match my ambitions, if I'm being honest. What we spoke about in the season, what I've always been part of teams, or try to be part of teams that are going to be up and challenge. And the discussions with the chairman at the time, Braids, at the end of the season, didn't match my personal ambitions. I didn't want to stay at a club. Obviously, the club was going through a bit of a change at the time. Things were going to be a lot tighter, and it just didn't support my personal ambitions as a player and, if you like, assistant at the time. So obviously, Darren Hare got the job at Hastings, and they wanted to put a side together that could challenge and look to be promoted. So that was the reason why. And obviously players like Franny, Mark Bodkin, obviously came with me, and obviously since came here. And that was the only reason for it. The club just didn't match my own personal ambitions of wanting to be challenging and looking to get promotion, if you like.
Cheers, Steve. Thanks for your honesty on that one. Really appreciated. Right, okay, a little bit of fun now. Just a few little questions for you. Right, here we go. The most fined player at this club?
Most fined? Oh, I can't really answer. You boys can deal with the fines. Who's it?
Swifty.
Swifty, yeah?
Yeah.
Swifty, right. Your number 2's most annoying trait?
Brownie. Brownie. What could I say annoying about Brownie? He's a worrier. He likes to worry.
Right, okay. Who gets on your nerves the most on a match day?
Roger.
What player?
Is that during the game or before it?
Any time.
Well, if it's during the game, it's definitely Roger.
What player turns up with a wag on his arm?
Pidge. Keeper. Every game without fail, his missus is there.
I'm just trying to think of another little good one that I might on there. I'll go with a little easy one. Who's got the best banter in the dressing room?
Tom Winterburn Mile.
How many have I done? I've got one more. I want to pick a good one. This is not always an easy one because who's the player most likely to win the Clubman of the Year trophy?
Clubman of the Year. Oh.
It's not always one.
Probably Roger, if I'm being honest. He's a man who's always been about doing little bits and bobs and trying to buy friends, if you like, within the Squad Club. So I guess they would have to give him something come the end of the year.
Right, that's great. Thank you for that. Thank you.
It's all right, mate.
I always like to add in some weird and wonderful questions from Mick Sullivan. And let's go back to the game today. And we talked about the aspect of it being a local derby. How do you see the game going? What are your approach on the pitch going to be without giving too much away?
Just the same as we always do. We haven't changed anything within the squad, any game up till now. We'll just and it's worked for us. So stick to what we're good at, and impose our play and ourselves on our opponents. That's what we breed in there. We've got set principles and structure in place, and we ask our players to follow that through. And we've got a belief in our dressing room that no matter who the opposition is, if it's leagues below, if it's leagues above, that if we turn up, if we do our jobs right, we can win games of football. And that's the way we approach today, no different to any other game we've played this season.
We talked a little bit today about the youth setup and bringing young players through and the aspirations in the league, but where do you see this club in a few years' time? Have you got longer term plans of where you can take this club?
Well, look, the history of the club it's a national league level club. It's been at that level years ago, and there's nothing to say the club can't get back to that level. Obviously, things that have happened in the years gone by is on and off the pitch hasn't been done properly. But with the new structure and infrastructure behind the club now, off the pitch, we're building the club slowly. We're building it slowly, as I said. That's not just on the pitch; that's off it as well. We put players here. I mean, last year, as I said, there's only, I think Sess, who's here this year, is the longest serving player at the club that's had in a couple of years, which there's been too many turnover of players. So we need to get a settled side out there and look to progress. And look, who knows where we can be in the next 2 years. As I said, if hopefully we can be in and around it come end of the season, who knows?
Has your chairman this year given you everything you feel you need to take this club up to the next level?
Here he goes. Look, he's having a right listen to this answer. Look.
Well, has he given you all the tools that you need to take this club up this season, whether it be via the playoffs or winning outright promotion? I'll put you on the spot a little bit because the chairman is here. Yeah, fair enough. But has he?
Look, as a manager, you always want more.
Right. Okay.
But look, I've got to say to get that reaction. Look, the chairman's been brilliant. Look, the chairman is a big factor of why I came to the club. I've known Alistair for many years, and I always knew you'd be in a position he was. And when I got the call to be part of it, it was a no-brainer for me. And the way Alistair's putting things together, not just with my help on the pitch, player-wise and support he's given me, what he's done off the pitch for the football club is fantastic. And I think people out within the club, you can see the changes have been made, and all in a positive point of view. And look, it's exciting times for this club. As I said, we're rebuilding it, and I think the future's only bright.
Chairman, has that earned him a couple of hundred onto the budget?
Let's bring him in.
We'll ask him now if I can bring someone in.
There we go, just put those on. We're obviously talking about the club and where you see it going in the next few years, and as budgets, as Mick's just asked, and good question to put to you, where you want the club to be in a few years' time.
He is getting no more money, none at all. He wastes it all the time. No, he's no. Listen, it's work in progress for us as a club. I mean, as we sit here, we can look out at the new 3G pitch, and you can see that that's going to be a big factor of where the club can move forward in the next few years. We've really harped on about stability this year. We need to stabilise the club before we make any projections or start to. We want to do things quietly. We don't want to shout about what we're doing and where we're going to be and what we've got. So we want to go about our business in a way where we can give our supporters who have been extremely loyal over the tough times, give them the stability that they need and the belief to get them to continue to come back in numbers, and then we'll grow from there. So we've said to Steve, there's no pressure on you this year at all. it's about stabilising and almost trying to make the football club as self-sufficient as possible.
And that leads us on nicely to today. As a chairman, the FA Cup, it's huge rewards as you keep moving through these rounds. How important is that for the club, and does that bring perhaps the plans forward if you can get to the first round proper?
Yeah, well, yes, of course. I mean, you want to try and make as much money as you can in this competition. I think there's more than just the finances, though. I think the FA Cup, and I'll mention the Scottish Cup as well to what is that's more important than anything. But yeah, the FA Cup's a huge thing for every club, and especially in non-league. I mean, Steve and I we've had a couple of good chats, and there's always one non-league club that look at Lincoln last year, and with what Margate did, who we all know here, who played when we were all at Dover. The fairy tale that they had last year, and would love to think that Margate might be that little fairy tale this year. So I think there's more than just the finances. I think there's the ethos and the whole prestige of the FA Cup. So it's a great thing to be involved in.
And not just Lincoln, we mentioned Merstham earlier, who reached the first round proper, but Sutton United as well, who went all the way through to the fifth round. And you rightly say that, because we remember last year interviewing the manager at Sutton and said, yeah, the money's great and it is brilliant, but it's the, like you say, the prestige and the coverage that the club gets.
The kudos, yeah, absolutely. That's crucial, and I think that's very important for us, because we haven't had that. We've been almost continually battered over the last few years for various different reasons, and we want people to not just within the town and the local area of Margate, but we want other clubs to like Margate again, because it's a wonderful old club that's got real great traditions going back many years. So we want everybody to start to like the club again, and we're trying to be as friendly, to other clubs as we possibly can be, very welcoming, when they come, and we make a real effort on every level.
And as a chairman, there's so many things. And we've been speaking to Steve about things on the pitch, and there are plenty of those, but off the pitch and behind the scenes at these clubs, so much goes on to get things right.
Yeah, they do, and we haven't really had that infrastructure in place properly. We do now. We've brought Charlotte in, who's now doing marketing and communications. We've got a new guy starting actually on Monday, and Denny Wilson, who's going to be our general manager, who's run leisure facilities in the past. And the idea for Denny is to get a structure in here, obviously utilise the pitch for financial benefits, increase the food and beverage, all of the stuff that enables the big fella to get a few more pennies in the pot for the squad. Because ultimately the end game is the first team is successful, and that's what we want here.
An interesting debate that came up this week was Sutton United, who are top of the National League, would have to play somewhere else or rip up their lovely 3G pitch if they were to get promoted. The pitch is a big part of supporting the club financially, having that pitch there, as you say, to
massive.
Allow other teams to play on it.
Yeah, it's a massive part, and that's, I don't know if you're angling at me for my opinion on that, but I think it's probably something the FA will have to look at in due course, because if you look at the most successful non-league clubs over the past few years, Maidstone have done great, Sutton, as you say, have done well, Bromley are, they've had their 3G pitch recently installed, and it nobody can. There's not many people out there, I have to say, like Glenn at Billericay, who has that wealth and that kind of wealth, who has that enthusiasm and love for the game, who's willing to put his wealth into a football club. There's they don't come along very often. So what you need to do is to structure the club, and the 3G pitch enables the footfall to quadruple, maybe even more, over the period of a year. So it makes we are of course we're a football club and we all love football, but we're a business as well, and you have to run your business like any other business. It has to not necessarily make money, but it can't continue to lose money. So that's why the whole idea of the 3G pitch is important, and I think the FA at some point may look into. I'd like to think they will.
If I could just come in there, the question I'd like to ask the FA is, if World Cup qualifiers can be played on 3G, why can't league games be played on 3G? It's at a higher level. I don't understand the argument for it. I do understand that if you're a league club, you should be able to have a perfectly playing grass pitch. I mean, I understand that. But the question I'd like to ask that, there's World Cup qualifiers played on 3G, there's Champions League games played on 3G, yet you can't play a English League football match on 3G. I don't understand.
Well, maybe we can ask. We've got Nick Robinson coming in for the cup draw. I think he's part of the FA. We can put that question to him. I've got a couple of other questions to put to Nick, but that's a question we could put to him. I don't suppose he's going to give you a defining answer.
No, well, you wouldn't expect it.
We did ask him actually on the first day of the season. I remember we talked about 3G pitches, and one of the things we did mention on the first day was how far away are we from seeing clubs that potentially do have the 3G pitch and the grass pitch, and then commercialise the 3G pitch and it's used when it needs to be used, but actually have the grass pitches. I'm talking at Football League level.
Yeah. I've no idea. I mean, we've got 2 or 3 friends that are involved in championship clubs, and you're now getting this half and half, aren't you, where half of it's grass, half of it's sort of woven in. It's very difficult. I mean, going back to Steve's point, I mean, we were both sat, he was probably in his house, I was certainly in my house watching the Lithuania-Scotland game a couple of weeks ago, and I was absolutely staggered that these lads that are playing in the Premier League and the Championship and the Scottish Premier League, suddenly in a World Cup qualifier, it plays that on a 3G pitch, and funnily enough, I was just at a district game that my son was playing in this morning, and we were chatting to a couple of the dads who were asking how things are going up here, and it was interesting because you could almost do a sort of 25-yard slide tackle on that pitch, and it's not like the old 3G pitches, where you'd get a burn mark on your leg that would stick to your sheets when you go to bed at night. You could actually slide tackle like any other normal grass pitch, because the surfaces have come on so far in the last few years. I mean, the playing surface out there, I don't know if you chaps have been out yet, but the playing surface is absolutely fantastic. It's amazing.
We're really looking forward to getting out there. Last question for you: how are you on a football day watching the games?
It's a nightmare.
I'm okay. I'm pretty. It's difficult because as a lad growing up, I was an Aberdeen fan, and I'm a big Scotland fan. So if I do go to any Scotland games, I'm stood in my kilt with my Timberlands on, and I'm screaming and shouting like everybody else. As chairman of this club, I've kind of got to behave myself a little bit more. So I'm a little bit reserved, but I do get myself a little bit excited. But it's great for me because I've put a management team in structure with Steve and Brownie and Mike Sandman, who are very, very strong, and I've known them for a long time, and I trust them. And that's, for me, that's great. There's a lot of chairmen and managers tend to, don't always see eye to eye, but we're quite a close knit group, and I think that also then, goes right through the playing staff that Steve's brought in, and I'll go back to saying we're trying to be a friendly club, and that's got to be all the way through. So I'm all right. I suppose if we're 2-0 down with 5 minutes to go, I'll be a nightmare. But no, I'm okay.
FA Cup football today, so I'm sure that will test you out. But listen, thank you ever so much for coming in, Alistair, Steve, and James. Best of luck with the game this afternoon. We're looking forward to commentating on it, and we'll let you get on with your preparations now for the rest of the day, and obviously the build-up to kick off. So thanks ever so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting PromoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Back of the Net, the official partner of the Bostik Leagues. Join us from 2:30 for live coverage from today's game. Back of the Net, where it matters. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So, very good afternoon to you. Welcome back to the show this afternoon. Busy show, as we mentioned. We're here till 1 o'clock. Delighted to say that Nick and Craig have joined us as we're going to be doing the draws for the Velocity Trophy and also the Women's Cup as well. Very good afternoon to you guys.
Afternoon.
It's been a rebrand this year, the Velocity Trophy, and we've already seen the first round of fixtures, which has been quite exciting.
Yeah, very good. We've been to a couple of the matches in the first round, and it seems to have been well received. The Alan Turvey Trophy, sponsored by Velocity, so we call it the Velocity Trophy now.
And any cup competition, Craig, is exciting. We're talking today a lot about the FA Cup, which we're here to watch, but cup competitions get everybody excited, especially the draw, which is coming up in a moment.
Definitely, I think it's a great idea to put it out live, and I know there's quite a few people going to be listening in this morning with interest, even though it is FA Cup Day. Everybody loves a cup draw.
Yeah, Mick, you especially, we keep going back to it, but last year with the FA Cup with Merstham, but being involved in the League Cup and the County Cups, there's a lot of excitement for players across this league.
Well, I've always treated the cup competitions with huge respect, like I have this League Cup. I won it about 4 or 5 years ago with Leatherhead. I think we beat Wilson in the final. So I know obviously a couple of my old clubs, Merstham and Walton Casuals, are in the draw, so it'd be quite interesting if they pulled out each other. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It's quite exciting. I'm really chuffed that the league have picked our show to announce it on.
Yeah.
Did you freeze the balls or heat them up? So
no,
we
not
pick
at
those
all.
out?
As long as Craig don't drop any.
Okay, we're going to get on with the draw for the Velocity Trophy. Second round matches to be played by mid-November. It's in 2 groups, and Group 1 is first. And Nick, you're going to draw the home teams?
Yeah, this is the South clubs, so I'll draw the home teams. And the first one is number 5.
And number 5 is Folkestone Invicta.
We'll play 11.
And they will play Metropolitan Police. The first draw out, Folkestone Invicta against Metropolitan Police.
And number 12
is Shoreham.
Number 3.
And they will be playing Dorking Wanderers.
Number 4,
Dulwich Hamlet. And they'll be at home to
number 6,
Greenwich Borough.
Nice local one there. This is 9.
Number 9 is Margate. We're at Margate today. Margate drawn out of the Velocity Trophy.
2.
And Margate will be playing Corinthian Casuals in the next round of the Velocity Trophy. Steve watching on with interest over there.
Right then, number 14.
Number 14 is South Park.
Number 1.
And they will be playing Chipstead. Know each other well, of course, in the same league. South Park against Chipstead.
Number 15.
Tunbridge Angels.
Number 8.
And they will be playing Hive Town.
And I've got 16, so I've drawn 14, 15, 16 out consecutively.
That's Walton Casuals.
Number 7.
And Walton Casuals will be playing Horsham.
And I've got 13 now, so that completes the set.
Sittingbourne.
And if this works properly...
One more.
10.
And number 10 is Merstham, so the draw has worked properly. There we go. There are the fixtures for the southern section of the Velocity Trophy. Second round matches to be played by mid-November, and we'll put them out on social media as well. So a quick recap of that. We have Folkestone against Met Police. Shoreham will take on Dorking Wanderers. Dulwich will take on Greenwich Borough. Margate, of course, we're here today. They'll take on Corinthian Casuals. South Park will take on Chipstead. Tunbridge Angels, they will take on Hive Town. Walton Casuals will play Horsham, and Sittingbourne will play Merstham. That completes the southern section draw for the second round matches of the Velocity Trophy. Right, let's go for the northern section draw straight away.
Well, that went well. We did say on the way down, we spoke to Kelly on the way down, who's entrusted us to do this draw. We said, if it works well, we did it well. If anything goes wrong, it's her fault. So, and she said she was going to watch and listen. So,
luckily, Kelly, it's all good. It's all going well. So the northern section of the draw now to come. And again, Nick will draw the home teams.
Number 5.
And number 5 is Bury Town first.
Number 10.
Team to be drawn out. Well, they'll play Heybridge Swifts or Mildenhall.
Number 15
is Thamesmead Town.
We'll play number 2.
And they will play AFC Sudbury.
Number 13.
That's Romford.
We'll play number 1.
And they will play AFC Hornchurch, leading the way at the moment in the North Division.
Number 6.
Chess Hunt.
Number 7.
And they will play Enfield Town, who we saw last weekend up at Needham Market. Very impressive.
Number 11.
Malden and Tiptree.
Number 3.
And they will play Billericay Town.
Number 9.
Hendon.
We'll play number 8.
And they'll play Grays Athletic.
Number 16
is Wingate and Finchley.
Number 12.
And they will play Potters Bar Town.
And number 14
is Surham Town Rangers.
It's in here somewhere.
And we've got one left.
Number 4.
And they will play Brentwood Town. So that concludes the draw for the north section, and we will have a recap quickly of those fixtures in the north section. So Bury Town will take on Heybridge or Mildenhall. Then we had AFC Sudbury, they're taking on Thamesmead Town. Romford will play AFC Hornchurch. Chess Hunt play Enfield Town. Billericay taking on Malden and Tiptree. Hendon will play Grays. Wingate and Finchley against Potters Bar Town, and Surham Town Rangers against Brentwood completes the draw. So that's both sections of the draws done. Those second round matches to be played by mid-November in the Velocity Trophy. Some exciting fixtures, Mick.
Yeah, one of them that sticks out is Malden and Tiptree against Billericay. And it's Malden and Tiptree got the home advantage there, and they're quite good on their own patch. So I think Kevin Horlock would like the fact that they're going to play the big boys, and there could be a cup shock there.
Yes,
a couple in the north there that catch my eye. Romford versus Hornchurch, a local derby, and Chesham versus Enfield as well.
Also had Malden and Tiptree against Billericay, which will be an interesting tie as well.
That's the one I said, right?
Yeah, sorry, I was listening to you, Mick.
I thought I saw
But what about Malden and Tiptree versus Billericay?
Yeah, let's have that one. I mean, I will have to mention, I don't think Merstham will fancy going down the Sittingbourne at the minute. Nick Davis has got a good side going on down there. That'd be a tough draw for Merstham travelling there. So and I would have thought they'll be up for playing, obviously, Merstham, the higher league side.
OK, we're going to get on with the Women's Isthmian League Cup draw now as well. First round matches to be played again by mid-November, and we're going to do. Craig's going to draw the.
There'll be 4 matches, so that will involve 8 teams, and the last 4 balls that are left in the bag will get a bye.
Okay.
Because we've only got 12, we had a couple of pull-outs this week, which is a shame, but we'll do this. So the first 4, Craig pulls the first one, he can draw the home this time.
Number 11.
And that is Whiteleaf.
Play number 5.
Godalming Town. Whiteleaf against Godalming Town.
Number 12.
It's Worthing.
Against number 10.
And they will play West Ham Ladies.
Number 6.
Is Harlow Town.
Against number 4.
And they'll play Enfield Town.
Number 2.
Charlton Athletic.
Will play number 8.
And they will play Tunbridge Angels.
So the remaining 4 should be byes.
Which are 7.
Margate.
Number 1.
Burgess Hill Town.
Number 9.
Wealdstone.
And number 3.
And Cheshunt, all receiving byes. Some interesting ties coming out there as well. That's the Women's Isthmian Cup. First round matches to be played by mid-November had Whiteleaf against Godalming, Worthing against West Ham Ladies, Harlow Town will play Enfield, Charlton Athletic will play Tunbridge Angels, and as we mentioned the rest of the teams will receive byes: Margate, Burgess Hill Town, Wealdstone and Cheshunt.
And we're still looking for a sponsor for that, so if anybody listening or watching is interested in sponsoring that competition, I shall be very pleased to hear from them.
Yeah, that concludes both the draws for the competitions today. We'll speak with you guys very shortly. Before we do that, we're going to continue our FA Cup theme, and we're going to catch up with Dorking Wanderers manager Mark White. Spoke to him yesterday, really excited about their tie today as sees them take on National League South opposition. So Mark, we're at the 3rd qualifying round stage of the FA Cup. Is it fair to say that this is the point where you start to dream about a first round proper tie?
Yeah, you've got to give it everything you've for the FA Cup, because there's such limited ways of earning money and profile in non-league football. And if you think about it, with a chairman hat on, money and profile is the most important thing to your club. And obviously one leads on to the other. So as a club, you've got to put everything against it you've got, and that's certainly we earmarked the FA Cup this year before the season started. We knew whilst we wanted to have a good year in the new league, we knew that largely we'd be hopefully consolidating and pushing for playoffs late on maybe, to give ourselves something to aim for. But the cups this year were going to be a focus. We 3rd qualifying round for the first time ever. Winnable game. Lads are looking forward to it. And really, this is the one to win, because I think you get to the 4th qualifying round, and it kind of feel like you've got a shot at the title, if you like. One good day at the office on the 4th qualifying round could mean a TV game against a really big league club. And look at the clubs that will come in the first round proper, and Blackburn, Charlton Athletic, and Portsmouth, and some of these clubs, and getting a game against one of those in the draw would be life changing to a small club. The revenues you'd achieve and the profile you'd gain.
When you're facing a side in the National League South, how do you approach the game? Is it a case of playing the Dorking Wanderers way and playing to your strength, or do you know a lot about the team and have to adjust to perhaps their strengths?
No, we'll just play our way 100%. We'll look to try and play them off the field. And I think this season we've had a really stuttered start, in terms of. But our league form wouldn't mean make anything really. I mean, I think we're quite honest and true as a club, and we've had some just about a combination of everything. Bad luck, from our player of the season keeper breaking his wrist, key injury. Luke Moore, pretty close season signing, missed 7 games already with an injury. We've played our away games. We've played, Leicester, Margate, Tunbridge Angels. We've really kind of been thrown in the deep end this year and had a few challenges. So we would know that probably our league table position is not representative of our best team that we can field. I feel like we're building some momentum now, slowly, and obviously we'll respect the opposition, but we'll be confident. We'll be confident of winning.
How much of a difference? You mentioned you're in the 3rd qualifying round of the FA Cup. Obviously, we know about the money that's there for clubs each round that they progress. How much of a difference has it made already?
A big difference, yeah. It's a really big difference. It's not money that you put in your kind of business model as a club. It's you treat it as a bonus. You don't want to have the pressure of having to win. But it's made a big difference. I mean, like I said, we've had contracted players that have had long-term injuries this year already, and that costs the club a lot of money because these boys signed a contract for a reason, to protect them and to protect the club. And in the event somebody's on contract on long-term injured, you need to bring in other players, and you've got to pay for them. And having to pull on resources like a cup run helps you.
FA Cup can't obviously go by without me asking about memories of the FA Cup. Perhaps not as a manager maybe, but back in the day when we all used to watch the cup final religiously from 12 o'clock in the afternoon on the BBC. Is there any great memories of games that stick out for you?
Well, yeah, 100%, because I'm a Wimbledon fan. So I'll give you I went to every single game that year that Wimbledon won the FA Cup in 1988. And as a kid at 13 years old, and me and my friends went to every single game, including away at Newcastle. The semi-final was at White Hart Lane against Luton Town, and we had 5 tickets between us for the final. And I was behind the goal where Dave Besant saved the first ever penalty in a Wembley Cup final. So yeah, so great memories, and it's a competition for the underdog, as Wimbledon proved in 1988.
Great memories, and also a great time where the FA Cup semi-finals used to be at a neutral ground that wasn't Wembley.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the only people in the whole of the UK who wanted to be at Wembley is the FA from a revenue point of view, and it definitely has taken out the kind of taken a shine away from the semi-finals for sure. Especially when you see the 2 northern clubs travelling down the motorway to get to London for the afternoon, and it is the biggest leveller in competition football every single season, and that's why whether you're a step 3 team playing a team from step 4, or if you're a step 3 team in our case playing a team from step 2, it is a great leveller, and it's also a good opportunity. I think teams at the bottom of leagues are dangerous because it's a good opportunity for them to forget their league form for a day, not under as much pressure, and actually an opportunity to smile. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Back of the net, where it matters.
Yeah, Mark White, the Dorking Wanderers manager, and Mick, we've talked about Dorking Wanderers a lot this season. They've got a really good opportunity at Concord Rangers, who are struggling in the National South this afternoon.
Yeah, well, Dorking, again, got a good cup competition. I've been and watched them against Plymouth, I think, a few years ago at the old Dorking ground.
That was Dorking, not Dorking Wanderers.
Oh, well, fair point, but they're sort of amalgamated now, aren't they, Nick, sort of?
Dorking Wanderers will tell you that's not...
Right, okay, I'm going to shut up because I will put myself in it and knowing Mark.
Let's move on from that point. So, for Dorking Wanderers this season, they have said how important the cups are this year, and they've got such a history that the story for them is, like I say, better than anyone else's, but for 18 years and where they've come from, it's one hell of a story. If they were to get to the first round proper, for them it would really put them on the map.
Well, maybe they make a film for it, Mark. I love that. They make a film about the cup journey for them. But no, they're a very progressive club under Mark White, and look, I'd love them to actually get to the next round, but I keep telling you I want them to pull out Leatherhead in the next round. So I'm really willing that both Leatherhead and Dorking get through, and then that's the next round.
I'm sure we'd love that as well, because that would mean that both the teams progress today, and we would have a Bostik team in the first round proper, which is what we all want. So many things to talk about with Nick and Craig as well. Won't keep you guys too long, but the league this season, what a fantastic season already, with some of the excitement, the matches we've seen, and the launch of the new branded League Cup and everything else. Don't know where to start really, Nick.
Well, being the end of the month today, one of our jobs over the weekend, Craig and myself with Kelly, we'll be looking at the Manager of the Month, the statistics for Goalkeeper of the Month for the Golden Gloves, and Performance of the Month. So with the new sponsorship of Performance of the Month from betting.net, what we're doing is we select 3 performances that we think are worthy from each division and give them to the sponsor, and the sponsor decides which one it's going to be. So that takes the pressure off us. We've just got to get the three proposals for them. So that's our job for tomorrow.
And Craig, your thoughts on the season so far?
Well, I think there's an increase in attendances as well, which is pleasing across the board. When you look around now, that my own club as well, obviously going to the new ground, have increased our attendances, but across the board, obviously I'm interested in it because it's relevant to us, and I see a marked increase right across the board.
Yeah, we saw the percentage. I think it was 42% increase last season on attendances, and again, it, as you say, it looks like it's rising again this year, which is great news for non-league football.
Yeah. The attendances so far are up by about a third, which is, it's fantastic for the league, particularly with the new sponsor. It is clubs going to new grounds such as Averley with Grays, of course, and Walton Casuals going from getting less than 50 at when they were playing at Cobham, now getting 250, 300 at each match. So that's helping all the time.
Today is obviously FA Cup third round qualifying day, and we're here at Margate. Everything looks wonderful here and ready to go for a local derby. The FA Cup is so important as well. If the Bostik teams can do well and go through, and what happened last year with Merstham really put the league on the map, non-league on the map, and of course the clubs as well.
Well, we got 2 guaranteed to go through to the fourth qualifying round, and then the draws on Monday. We shall look at that with great interest.
And Mick, you're dying to ask a couple of questions, so I'm going to let you fire away.
Well, only because there's a few managers that we've been going around and they've asked me a couple of questions. I said, well, I'll try and remember them when Nick's next on the show. So the first one is obviously there's going to be a new division under the Ryman or Bostik remit.
Well done. That was almost
okay. So I'll stop there. Can you give us an idea? Because I know there's a few people, let's say north of the river, that are sort of thinking maybe they'll have a big involvement. What will the geography makeup likely be with this new division? What will be the promotion situation with this new division? And what will be the name of this new division?
Nice, easy questions for you, Nick.
Well, take the last one first. The name's easy. It's Bostik.
What, west, south, east?
Oh no, at the moment, what we're intending is there will be 1 North Division and 2 South Divisions. So no decision made yet, but the obvious thing is to take South East and South Central with a North Division. So that's where we are there. As to the clubs that will make up each division, that decision is made by the Football Association. It's one of the committees that I sit on at the FA, and we are doing some work on the principles, but obviously I can't tell you what those principles are at the moment because no decision's been made. There are difficulties with the makeup of East Anglia and how it is north of the river, and also south. You look at it, and before I did any work on it, I thought it was going to be easy. That you just go, the first 20 clubs going from the Thames Estuary round, all the Kent clubs and Surrey and Sussex comes in, and suddenly you stop because you've got 20 clubs, and you think, right, we haven't got 40 there. So it's quite tricky because then you think you've got Horsham down at the bottom there. They're almost on the cusp of a boundary there. And do they go southeast? Do they go south central? What happens? The one thing that is absolute certainty: we will not please all the people all the time. A lot of people will be happy with it, and there will be those that aren't.
Sorry, Ben.
I was just going to ask when the decision was likely to be made on those divisions and how that will work.
Well, what's happening, the Leagues Committee at the FA meets on Tuesday, and they're going to be looking at some of the work that we've done so far. But the final decision will not be made until next May, when we know who the clubs are, because obviously until we know the makeup of the clubs in each division, at Step 4, there's 140 clubs at Step 4, so 7 divisions of 20. And until we know exactly who's in there, we can't even start. We're just looking at the principles at the moment.
Could there be a possibility that, say, the furthest north, like a Lowestoft, could get pushed into a more northern division, and the FA then have an involvement and maybe bring someone sideways in, and it sort of gets pushed round that way? Because I'm thinking more from the Suffolk area, like the Needham Markets, the Leistons and the Lowestoft, which seem to be a little bit further forward from a lot of the clubs that are in the Bostik League. Could they likely maybe be pushed round and it get geography?
I think it depends whether we're talking Step 3 or Step 4. Obviously, the Lowestoft and Leistons are in Step 3, Sudbury's and that are in Step 4, and that's why I say we can't make final decisions until we know exactly who is where. But if we talk about realigning the geography, the problem is, where do those clubs go? Yes, we look at the clubs, and you take Lowestoft and Leiston, we might say we're out on a limb, but if they don't go with us, where do they go? And you've got to look at their travelling, you've got to look at all those things.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of looking on the map. What we've done is we've done some work with mileages. I think actually step 3 is easier than step 4. The 88 clubs that will form step 3 basically form fairly easily into 4 areas. I don't think we'll have many clubs unhappy at step 3.
One of the things that I wanted to mention, we talked on the show to Steve and also to Alistair, the chairman here, about the 3G pitches that people are using now, and the side of the game that obviously they bring a lot of money to clubs. Now we see at the moment Sutton United are top of the National League, and that may pose them a problem, although somebody in the week said they might just go down the road and play at Selhurst Park. But is this something that you see in your involvement with the FA, that there's likely to be a change in the Football League where these pitches maybe have to be allowed because so many clubs now rely on the revenue stream of 3G pitches?
I think it's my personal hope, and as chairman of the Bostik League, we do hope that the EFL will agree to 3G pitches at League 2, which will allow people to actually go up into the into League 2, because I think there is a lot of people who are saying it's very unfair that somebody qualifies from step 1 but has to dig up its pitch and relay a grass pitch. The one thing that is for certain is that what we're told is that each of the clubs at step 1 that has a 3G pitch has signed an undertaking that it will do that if it qualifies for promotion. So, I think we can move on from that and just look at the principle of it. I do believe that within 4 or 5 years that it will be allowed probably up to the Championship. We once Dorking Wanderers moved to their new ground, we will have 14 3G pitches in the Bostik League. Now, I think that's good. That we're likely to have a couple more next season that I know of. Once we get to about 20, I think that's probably about. I mean, there's still those who say grass is best. Well, if we've got a mixture, we're certainly the last couple of seasons we've noticed there's not been such a problem at the end of the season with fixtures, because those playing on 3G pitches are playing on through.
You said there's a couple more in the pipeline. Can you name those clubs yet, or because I'd be interested?
I'd rather not at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay, fine.
It was actually it's an interesting point. It's not just the revenue that the clubs can make off of the pitches when the football's not being played, the first team football, but it's also, like you say, the fixture congestion. The more clubs that have these pitches. I was involved in a game that was called off yesterday for an academy club because of the rain and this is this stage of the season on the grass pitch, because you just cannot play that amount of games on grass pitches. If that was on a 3G surface, then it wouldn't have been called off. So it's not just perhaps for the first teams. You're looking at the under-18s and the academy teams as well. Their games won't be called off, and in fact we always said this last year, Sutton, when they played Arsenal, there were games and training on that pitch just a couple of hours before the first team went out against Arsenal in the FA Cup, which shows you the versatility that it gives you.
But, Craig's here, his club's gone to a 3G, the business plan there is very good, everything he's got there is brilliant. He's been able to bring in an academy, so let him tell you.
Yeah, from a commercial point of view, it's the lifeline of our club. It's why we can move forward as opposed to where we were before, which was unsustainable. And that's what it's all about, really, is sustainability moving forward. Where it does worry me, we have had, from a groundsman's point of view, some really weird weather so far, and we're at the end of September. We've had a lot of rain, which is a lot of the grass pitches looking fantastic at the moment. But my concern would be is if this rain continues, I think grass pitches are going to suffer badly this winter compared to the last couple of seasons. So with the amount of 3G pitches we have got in the Bostik now, it does put us in a better position.
And a nice little link here is going to be to go and speak. If I've done my research right, somebody else that plays on 3G pitch, and it's Neil Baker, who's the Slough Town manager. And Neil, you've got a new ground there as well, so you obviously reap the benefits with these surfaces. And very good afternoon to you, Neil.
Good afternoon, how are you? I'm actually with John Underwood, my fellow joint manager as well, so you've got us both in the car.
Brilliant. So we'll start by asking you about the pitches, because it's a nice little link. Obviously, you have the benefits of having a 3G pitch on the pitch. Do you see the differences there with perhaps games not being called off and your academy teams, etc., being able to play more easily?
Yeah, I mean, for us, when we first found out it was going to be 3G, I think both myself and John were a little bit sceptical. Obviously being used to playing on grass throughout our careers, but I have to say, once you're there, once you're on it, it's absolutely fantastic. Some of the games you actually play in, the quality is so much better than potentially playing on grass pitches, especially back end of the season when the pitch is a bit dry, rutted. Games can end up being not great to watch and not great to play in, but you get that consistency of the pitch throughout the year, and it's great. We love it. We feel that there's an advantage for a home side. Definitely. We've definitely found that our home record is better than our away record.
Let's move on to the football. Tough tie for you last round. You played Dulwich Hamlet and you got through that, and you're up against Poole Town today. FA Cup football, we've mentioned it on the show so many times this morning. It's just always really exciting. It's a different day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Everyone aspires to have a good run in the FA Cup, be it a manager, be it a player. I think there's your personal glory, there's glory for the club, there's obviously the financial rewards. We had a really tough game against Dulwich at our place. I think once it was drawn, we were a little bit disappointed, if I'm brutally honest. And we fortunately got ourselves through, which sets us up today against Poole. Which Conference South side, so it's not going to be an easy afternoon. But again, we've got home advantage, and hopefully we can have enough to try and get ourselves through to the fourth qualifying round.
Good afternoon, Neil and John in the car. It's Mick Sullivan here.
Hi, Mick. Good afternoon, Mick.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question, because maybe some Slough Town and Leatherhead supporters. How well did both of you do in the FA Cup competition when you were actually playing? Because I know you both played at a decent level. Can you just quickly give us a review of how well you both done?
Yeah, personally as a player, I got to the second round with Aldershot Town. We got knocked out to Exeter City. Had a few, I think myself and John both had a few times in the first round with Farnborough. But that's probably to the extent of my playing career. I don't know about yourself, John.
Yeah, first round for me. We had a replay with Farnborough against Barnet where we got beaten in a replay. We should have won the first game, but never made the second round. So as managers, fourth qualifying round's our best, and hopefully we'll go one better this year.
And for you this year, the importance of the FA Cup, we talk a lot about the financial rewards that it brings, but it's always great to have a cup run and put the town on the map again.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still only kind of just over a year into our new ground in Slough, and we're still building that support base. The support's been really good. The crowds are growing. I think if you can get a few really big games at the ground, it just encourages new supporters to come down, and hopefully then they'll stay and it will grow that way. So yeah, it's really important for the club. As managers, we've been frustrated a little bit in the last few years that we haven't gone as far as we'd like, and there's nothing worse than seeing other teams at your level go on and kind of that you get that kind of envious thing where you look at these other teams doing well and getting all the glory, and we want a little bit of that for ourselves. So fingers crossed this is our year.
We wish you all the best for your game today against Poole. Neil and John, thanks to you ever so much for joining us on the show this afternoon.
No problem at all. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Yeah, it's one of those days where, Mick, you just talking to anybody associated with football today in the FA Cup, just a little bit special, and you can tell when you speak to managers as well, just a bit of extra excitement ahead of the FA Cup.
Yes, I know Neil and John quite well, and to be fair, they've been part of the Bostik League. We've got them in, so they know about our league here, and they're a big club, Slough, and I really hope that they can turn Poole over today, because I think those two lads deserve it. They get around, they go and watch a lot of games where I go, and I love people that put the time and energy in, and both of them do.
One of the interesting things, I'll put this to Nick and Craig, is that today when we look at the fixture list, I've just got it up in front of me, there are so many games that perhaps aren't involving Bostik teams where we're now starting to think, okay, next round we might be going there, we might be seeing that team. That'd be interesting if they were paired against one of our teams.
Yeah, as I said earlier, we've got 2 guaranteed through because we've got 2 all Bostik ties, and I think we've got a total of 15 that can go through in total. And wouldn't that be fantastic for the league and for all the member clubs? It's not just about the sponsor; it's the club. All 72 clubs benefit from clubs getting success.
And as we said, the ideal, Craig, is that perhaps we get a draw in the next round if we get a few clubs through that is an all Bostik tie, so we would guarantee somebody to get into the first round.
Yeah, I also think that some of our teams that are playing non-Bostik clubs today have got good chances as well. There's some good ties out there for us. There's definitely some winnable ones. So it'd be lovely to get sort of 7 or 8 teams through to the fourth qualifying.
And our eyes will be on Margate against Herne Bay today, and that's obviously one of the teams that will be guaranteed to go through. But we'll certainly be keeping an eye on all of the other fixtures up and down the list involving the Bostik teams and other games as well, to see just who makes it through. We've got another phone call now, and we're going to be speaking to Zaki, the Leatherhead goalkeeper, who's on the line and involved in FA Cup action this afternoon at Ashford Town. Very good afternoon to you. Thanks for coming on the show, Zaki.
Hello.
Hello, Zaki. Thanks for coming on the show. Big game this afternoon. We're talking about the excitement of the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's a big game. You obviously want to win it and go as far as you can in the competition.
And for Leatherhead, the idea of getting through, Mick Sullivan sat here and saying he'd love to see Leatherhead against Dorking Wanderers, a local derby in the fourth round qualifying. I don't think any of us here would mind that at all. But for you, you've got to get past today, but do you start to think about the FA Cup first round proper? When you've made it through a couple of rounds, we're in the third qualifying round now, do you start to dream of being in the first round proper of the FA Cup?
Yeah, of course you think about that. It's very important you take each game as it comes and you respect the opposition you've got, whatever the league they're in. But yeah, we're ready for whatever we're up against. But we have got one eye, I suppose, on the first round, but most importantly on today.
Good morning or good afternoon, Zach. Are you there, mate?
Hi, Mick. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a quick one. I want to boost Leatherhead's chances today. Can we get some supporters behind that goal to sing a song about you? So if there's any Leatherhead supporters out there, I know they're listening, like Zaki, ula, 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 ula. Let's have some cheering going on behind that goal. I want to make sure that's been gets behind the club. We want another Bostik club through. I know Everstick are our rivals, but we want a Bostik club through in the next round. And of course, I keep on mentioning it, a closet Leatherhead supporter. And basically, I don't want to be biased on this show, which I'm not. But it would be nice that we get another one through. As Nick's been saying, we've got a fair few clubs still in it, and Leatherhead have got a good cup tradition. As I keep making note, I was there in the early days when they got through to Leicester and lost 3-2.
76, wasn't it?
Yeah, somewhere along that lines, and showing me age. But good luck today, Zaki, and good luck to the rest of the boys and lads there.
Zaki, can I just say that I have no idea what Mick Sullivan is going to ask at any of his questions, but there's his suggestion. So we've put it out there for Leatherhead fans to sing you a song. You'll have to let us know if they do that. You give us a tweet later.
Well, hopefully they sing one of the attackers' songs, to be fair. I hope we get some goals, so hopefully I won't be having to sing my song.
Stop being modest, Zaki. Come on.
Best of luck for the game this afternoon, Zaki, and we will watch with interest. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right, thank you very much for the call.
There's Zaki, the Leatherhead keeper. They're in action this afternoon, of course, in the FA Cup against Ashford Town. We've got a quick break now. We're going to be back. We've got Kit's Really Easy to do, and we're also going to be speaking to Margate and Herne Bay supporters on the show.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting PromoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the show. The last 15 minutes of the show is getting really busy here at Margate, as you'd imagine, ahead of their FA Cup tie, FA Cup third round qualifying tie against Herne Bay. It's a local derby today. Players are starting to arrive. We've spoken to the manager, Steve Watt, a little bit earlier on. Really excited for the game. Hopefully we're going to speak to a couple of supporters that are just as excited for the game. First of all, Stephen, who's a Herne Bay fan. Very good afternoon to you, Stephen.
Hi, Ben.
Big game today, local derby. Were you pleased when you drew Margate in the Cup? Was that a good draw for you?
I think it's always nice to meet new teams. Obviously, we've played Margate already this season, and we have a little bit of history against them. But the good thing is it means that it's not too far for the fans to travel, and also they're just one level above us.
Brilliant victory for you in the last rounds against Horsham. Played really well. You must be, and the league form as well at the moment, really good. You must be confident.
Yeah, I think, obviously we've got a new management team in, total new players. Early season, we really didn't know what to expect. But yeah, we're delighted. And Horsham away was a tremendous day for, everybody at the club and everybody in the town.
And today you've got a young team, a really young team. It's really exciting to watch. We were there when you played Horsham, flowing football, exciting football. Is that something that today you want to see from your team as well, to go at Margate?
Yeah, sure, definitely. We've got a lot of couple of lads down the wings who are more capable of putting the ball in. The great thing about this season is that we will make chances. If we can put them away, then I think we can take Margate all the way.
Well, we'll keep you there, Stephen, because we're going to bring in Martin, who's the Margate fan, for us today. Martin, very good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon.
You heard the views of Stephen there. Martin, you looking forward to the game? I'm going to ask the same question to you. When you drew Herne Bay, were you excited or were you a little disappointed that you weren't going somewhere different?
No, I mean, a nice local, a nice local tie is always good. Obviously, we played Herne Bay earlier in the season, so I know they're a good young side. Their winger in particular, Ducali, he looks a useful player, so it'll be a tough game today, I think, definitely.
And the experience that you've got in the Margate team, you must be confident that you can do the job today, and looking forward perhaps to going into the fourth round qualifying. It was a favourable draw for you, I guess, because you're a division above.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound too cliched, but I don't think there's any such thing as an easy game. Yes, we have got a lot of experience, obviously Herne Bay have got a very young side. They'll be pretty fearless out there. But I think if we turn up and play the way we can do, then hopefully we should get a result.
It's Mick Sullivan here, Stephen and Martin. Just a question to both of you. Who's got the most passionate fans out of you two? You're a local derby. Who's going to out-sing each other? Who's going to be more passionate on the terraces today to G their team on?
And we'll go to Stephen first, Herne Bay fan. Stephen? Stephen? Are you still there?
Hi.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Did you get Mick Sullivan's question?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I mean, I think obviously there's going to be more people from Margate there from Herne Bay, but having a look at our social media sites, we've certainly got a lot of people travelling, and it's going to be very passionate. I mean, you probably saw at the Horsham game, the delight expressed by the fans behind the goal, and there was a lot, in other parts of the ground. And there's going to be loads of passion.
And Martin, being the home side, you're obviously expected to make more noise. Being a local derby as well, I'm sure you're not going to disappoint.
No, absolutely. Funny enough, one of my best friends is absolutely massive Margate fan, so I have no doubt that you'll hear her dulcet tones on the show today. So, it should be a good, loud game, absolutely. Lots of support.
I think I know where this is going to go, but we're going to do some predictions. And Stephen, we'll start with you. What do you think about today's game?
I guess I'm going to go with my heart rather than my head. I think Herne Bay are going to win 3-2.
And Martin, your prediction for the game today?
I'm actually quite superstitious, so I'm not going to predict. Like I say, I think if we turn up and play as we should, then hopefully we can get a result. I don't really want to jinx it too much,
I like that. Superstition is I don't want to predict the result. That's absolutely fine, no problem at all. Well, listen, we hope you both enjoy the game. Stephen, Martin, thanks ever so much for joining us on the show this afternoon.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks, Ben.
It's just whetting the appetite for this game this afternoon. And Nick, we mentioned it, but being a local derby, two Bostik teams couldn't have really asked for more. From a league point of view.
Absolutely. Soon as we saw the draw, it just jumped out from the page. This was the one to have back of the net come to.
Yeah, Mick, final thoughts on the game this afternoon. We've seen Herne Bay play, you've seen Margate play in the week against Leatherhead. Where's this game going to be won and lost?
Well, I'm rather hoping my comments are going to stoke the Herne Bay players up a little bit to come out here and perform and see a shock today. But I think it could be a step too far. I've watched Margate, they're very experienced and solid and big guys, and I just think that might well tell today. But that's not to say some of these youngsters are going to step up the mark and prove me wrong.
And as Nick and Craig are here, I think it's only fair that unless they've got superstitions that they can't make predictions, that we get a prediction from you both as well.
Go on, Craig.
I'm going 2-0 home win.
I think they'll go to a replay. See it on Tuesday.
Yeah, we can't wait for the game. Don't forget you can have full highlights from the game tomorrow. The Bostik League show will be available from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Finally, before we go, just going to say we were talking all about the excitement of the FA Cup and the season. So much to look forward to. We've just done the draw for the Velocity Trophy, which you'll be able to see, official BOTN. You can see the full draw there. But so much to look forward to for the rest of the season. We're hoping for teams in the first round proper of the FA Cup. We've got some new grounds opening as well, so plenty of positive stuff.
Yeah, so very, very much so, and everything going well, and looking forward to good things.
The FA Trophy starting next week as well.
And just a rundown of those FA Cup games involving Bostik teams. Enfield's taking on Phoenix Sports. We mentioned that as one of the games we looked at earlier. Hereford taking on AFC Hornchurch. Hereford, AFC Hornchurch doing so well at the moment. Yeah. A bit of tradition with Hereford in the Cup as well.
That went past me, that one. I fancy AFC Hornchurch. I think they're a really good side, and I'd love them to take Hereford back to their place. That would be really good.
Concord Rangers, as we said, against Dorking Wanderers. East Thurrock United against Harlow Town was one of those chosen games as well. One we haven't mentioned, Oxford City up against Leiston. That will be an interesting game as well for Leiston, doing very well at the moment in the Premier Division.
Hopefully Matt Blake can do the business for the Bostik League.
Margate Herne Bay we're at today. Haybridge Swifts, who have been in good form as well, they play Frome Town. Truro City against AFC Sudbury will be another interesting tie. Needham Market, we were there last week, they take on Dartford from the National South. Tough tie for Needham Market.
Yeah, I hope Wilkes and a fantastic bunch up there at Needham Market. So that we're Bostic people. We want them to win. We want to beat the conference boys.
Haringey Borough against Bideford AFC. Folkestone Invicta taking on Aylesbury United. Hungerford Town, as you mentioned, playing Billericay. That'll be a really interesting one to see who comes out on top there. Burgess Hill Town, tough task against Wildston, and Ashford Town against Leatherhead, we mentioned as well. So all of those ties we'll watch with great interest. Let's hope for as many Bostic teams as we can to make it through to the next round. So thank you ever so much, Nick and Craig, for coming on and doing the draws for the Cup and the Women's Cup. As we mentioned, official BOTN, all of those draws will be up on social media. Mick, thanks ever so much, as always. Big thank you to Remy, Dara and Luke, and of course our guests, Steve and James, who were on the show earlier on. The Bostic League show comes tomorrow. You can see full highlights of this afternoon's game. It's going to be an absolute cracker, and you can get that tomorrow from 10 o'clock in the morning.
Have your say. Get in touch on social media. Just search official BOTN.